All right, here's the man, the myth, the legend, the golden child himself, Bronny James, and he's playing basketball again. He's out there in the preseason getting some playing minutes. Never try to make any of my videos about just hating on someone or just hopping on the hate train, and that's not what this will be about. But with that being said, I'm always going to go over players' performances and kind of try to fairly analyze their games. And if you're not playing good or you're doing bad, or I don't think you really deserve your opportunity, I'll mention that as well. And Bronny just doesn't deserve the opportunity he has in the NBA. We all pretty much agree it's a nepotism thing. He would not be in the NBA if it wasn't for LeBron James, his father, of course, and him just leveraging himself. He basically said, I'm going to play for whatever team drafts my son. Sure enough, the Lakers drafted Bronny James, and now here we are. But Bronny's played two preseason games up to this point now, and they haven't been good, just to call it what it is. We're going to get into these quotes here in a second, but Kwame Brown came out, and he made some comments about Bronny James that weren't nice, but they weren't lies. It was really true what he was saying. But anyway, Bronny James, his first preseason game, he played against the Suns. He was 1 for 12 from the field. He was 1 for 8 from 3. He played 24 minutes. He had 2 turnovers as well. So, needless to say, 1 for 12 from the field isn't great. 1 for 8 from 3 is really bad as well. So, that's just game 1. Maybe he's getting the rust off, whatever it is, but he pretty much has been performing like this his entire young career so far. I think he had one game where he scored like 17 points or something like that last season, and everyone was freaking out. LeBron wanted us to all, I guess, freak out and love and praise Bronny James. But then if he has a bad performance and we talk about it, LeBron kind of gets mad about that. So he just wants to have his cake and eat it too, I guess is how that saying goes. But game 2, just yesterday, he played against Golden State. He was 2 for 6 from the field, so I guess he improved from his 1 for 12 effort. He's 1 for 3 from 3. That's in 23 minutes, and he had 5 turnovers in 23 minutes, which is just really, really bad. We'll get into these quotes here, but I mean, Bronny James, he's like 6'2". I think he's 6'2", 170 pounds or something like that. He's not a big man. He's always going to be a liability defensively. He doesn't have some crazy lateral movement. He's not great at playing passing lanes. Even if you have some insane, elite athleticism, let's go with Derrick Rose. Let's say if he had Derrick Rose's athleticism, Derrick Rose was still basically a liability on defense. They'd still try to get switches to get a big man on him to take advantage of that. So Bronny James, he's always going to be a liability defensively, and that's fine. I mean, there's players that are 6'2". Most 6'2" players in the NBA are a liability on defense, but if you're going to be that liability on defense, you have to be just some elite, incredibly skilled player to be 6'2" and actually get minutes in the NBA, like an Allen Iverson, Kyrie Irving. I wouldn't put Tony Parker at the level of those guys, but Tony Parker type, Jalen Brunson. We can keep going. Just keep naming elite 6'2" level guards, but y'all get my point. If you're 6'2", 6'3", 6'1", whatever, you're pretty much always going to be a liability defensively, but then you have to be some incredibly just top 5% skilled player, just an incredibly skilled basketball player in the world. You have to be an incredible shot creator, an incredible shooter. You could throw Steph Curry in there. He's more like 6'3", 6'4", but y'all get what I'm saying. You have to have some incredible skill set, usually offensively, to make up for that lack of defense, and Bronny James just doesn't have that, to be completely honest. Here's Kwame Brown's quote on him. Kwame Brown made some comments about Bronny James' first couple preseason games, but he says, this ain't year 1, this is year 2. This is year 2. This don't make no sense. We got high school players better than Bronny. Absolutely got high school players better than Bronny. And it's not me being a hater again, but AJ Diabansa, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he's better than Bronny, right now today. Cooper Flag was better than Bronny last year when he was in high school, and there's definitely high school players that are better than Bronny James. There's high school players that are better than, AJ Diabansa. There's a handful of NBA players he's better than today. If you're just going off that lower tier of talent in the NBA, and that's where Bronny James lands. Honestly, he wouldn't be in the NBA if it wasn't for LeBron James. I'm not saying that to be a hater. That's just the truth of that. It's what Kwame was saying on his YouTube channel. Bronny was never the best high school player on his team. He was never the best college player on his team. And he still gets 12 shots in a preseason game where everybody's auditioning, where nobody normally passes the ball. I mean, Kwame Brown is spot on. It really makes no sense for me. Kind of all the shine Bronny gets, why he gets to play the minutes he does, why he gets the shot attempts he does. It's really just, I don't know if LeBron really believes in him that much. You're never going to tell your son you don't believe in him, or if JJ Redick really believes in him like that. Just me being an outside spectator, I don't believe in Bronny James. Again, it's not to be a hater. If he came in, he's cooking like Kyrie, or if he's like Tony Parker and just blowing by people and finishing at the rim, if he's like, who else did I name? If he's playing like Isaiah Thomas and he's just incredibly skilled. I'm talking about Boston Celtics Isaiah Thomas. He was more like 5'8". Plug in Detroit Pistons Isaiah Thomas as well. He's like 6'2", but y'all get my point. You have to be some incredibly skilled player that's just in your bag and just cooking on offense every single position, or every single possession rather. And it doesn't make any sense. All the minutes Bronny got last season, all the shot attempts he got from the beginning, 12 attempts in the preseason and missing all 11 shots. If that happened in his rookie year preseason, I'd say whatever. It's just the preseason. It's not really a big deal. And this isn't really a big deal either, but we saw it. We saw it all last season. All the air balls, all the bad performances, all the turnovers. This just is the player Bronny James. It just is who he is. Can he develop and get a little bit better at basketball? Maybe get much better. Maybe he can, but he's just not. He's just never gonna be an NBA starting level talent. Maybe he can develop into an off the bench talent, but it's just JJ Redick, LeBron just trying to force it onto him and trying to make a guy that's just not an NBA player into an NBA player. But Kwame Brown goes on, says that Bronny's only getting a shot at earning a spot on the roster in JJ Redick's rotation because of LeBron. And I completely agree. It's just true. I think it was Old Man and the Three. It was LeBron and JJ Redick's podcast. They're doing a podcast for, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years or so. And then your podcast partners, your coach, all of a sudden, can't really hate on LeBron. Be who you can afford to be. If I was LeBron James, I'd probably be swinging my dick around and making shit happen as well. I'd be making power plays out there. If I was in LeBron James' position, I'd be a terrible person. I would not be the humble family man LeBron James is. So kudos to LeBron for being at least a better person than I would be if I was a billionaire. But right down here, Kwame Brown goes on. Before I even read this, Kwame Brown, I don't know if salty is the right word, but he has all the right to kind of hate on Blaker's organization, hate on what he's seen, even if it wasn't Bronny James, just to hate on a prospect that's getting an opportunity in the NBA they don't deserve, because Kwame Brown came in, he was a number one overall pick, and he may be considered the biggest bust of all time in NBA draft history. So Kwame Brown knows what it's like to have a lot of stuff expected from you. And Bronny, there really wasn't a lot expected from him. He came in, he's like a late second round pick, so everyone's saying, oh, we didn't expect anything from him either. If he performs bad, just let it go, sweep it under the rug. If he has a great performance, y'all better talk about it on SportsCenter for 3 or 4 days straight. Again, LeBron wants all the positive without any of the negative stuff being said about his son. But again, Kwame Brown has the right to get mad at not Bronny James, just a draft prospect coming in, having an opportunity they don't deserve, and then the main thing is not getting criticized the way they should be criticized. Because when Kwame Brown came in, people were just tearing him up, rightfully so. He was not a good NBA player, just like Bronny James isn't a good NBA player, and people just tore into Kwame. People still talk crap about Kwame Brown to this day. He was basically the biggest bust in NBA history, and Kwame Brown will tell you, he won't deny that. He'll say, yeah, it was. I didn't live up to my expectations. Everyone tore into me, and they deserve to do that. It's not like, Kwame Brown's not saying, oh no, I was really good. I was really good at basketball. He knows he didn't live up to expectations, and he's fine with that. His point's basically just saying, if I don't live up to expectations and I get trashed on it is what it is. If Bronny James doesn't live up to expectations and we're talking crap about him, don't just sweep it under the rug. Just let it be known, this guy's not an NBA player. But Kwame goes on, and for every young man that thinks you can just be the president or you can get into the league and you're going to get a fair shake at it, I think the LeBron James situation just proved, I think fuck is what he said, just proved fuck the narrative that they tried to say, oh, it's nepotism. No, I think this LeBron James situation just proved that politics isn't everything. Nepotism kind of goes hand in hand with politics, and Kwame Brown's completely right. Like I said before, LeBron James is just swinging his big old schlong around all around the NBA and just knocking down dominoes and shaking things up and getting things going. And then, we got Bronny James into the NBA, and he's just not an NBA player. The thing that makes me the most mad isn't so much Bronny James getting a shot. It's more that one player that could have been an NBA player. They'll probably be a bench warmer at the bottom of the rotation, but they'll get some $1 million contract, however much money. I don't think there's any contracts we don't make millions of dollars in the NBA at this point, but I feel bad for that kid that could have changed life for himself, changed life for his family, and made, generational wealth in the NBA. And even if he's only in the league for 4 or 5 years and then he's out of the league, at least he made that generational wealth for himself and his family, because there was some guy out there that worked so hard, kind of like what Kwame Brown is saying. There's some guy out there that worked so hard and put everything into it, and then they see Bronny James get drafted due to nepotism, politics. It's some kid that just set for life off of his father's money, not to pocket watch, but it just is what it is. We all know that's true. And then for some guy to, just miss the draft. There's the last pick in the draft, and it's between this guy, and this one guy doesn't get drafted. And that guy could have been drafted if Bronny James wasn't drafted in front of him. There would still be that open pick at the end of the draft where someone can get drafted and change their entire life. And it's kind of hypocritical for LeBron, to be honest, because LeBron didn't come from a lot. He made his way up. He made all this money, and I'm sure if LeBron was still in the situation he was in before he made it to the NBA, and Bronny James was some super talented player and he's about to make it in the NBA, and LeBron's just like a regular parent, and then y'all already know what I'm saying. If things were the opposite and some other guy's son made it into the NBA in front of Bronny James, and we all know he doesn't deserve the opportunity, LeBron would be so mad if that happened vice versa to him. But, LeBron's he's kind of far away from reality. He's really bad at seeing things from anyone's point of view that's not LeBron James' own point of view. So, man, I wish Bronny James success. I don't hate on the man, but he's just not an NBA player. If his name was not Bronny James, if his last name wasn't James, we'd all have no problem just absolutely trashing on his performances. If you're shooting 1 for 12 in the preseason, if you're having 5 turnovers in 23 minutes in the preseason, it's just, especially in your second year, we're just gonna have to criticize you. Even if your father is LeBron James, you're just not good at basketball. Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, it's sad LeBron can't look at things from anyone's point of view besides his own. And I honestly wonder if Bronny James even loves basketball. I'm sure everyone can relate to this. Your parents want you to do one thing, and maybe you start off liking that thing, but then a couple years later, you don't love the thing as much as you did, when you first started, but you don't want to disappoint your parents. Your parents think you still love it. Oh, no, you love basketball. You love basketball. You always wanted to be in the NBA, but maybe Bronny doesn't even want to be in the NBA. Maybe he's just doing that because he doesn't want to disappoint his father. I can't confirm this, but I feel like Bronny has other passions other than the NBA, but he's kind of trying to do this to please his father LeBron. And then, like I said earlier, there's some kid out there, they could have absolutely changed their entire life, and they're missing out on that opportunity because of the nepotism and the politics of the James family. That last point's the one that frustrates me the most, is that someone else could have changed their entire family's life, even just being a bench warmer, they still make that life-changing money. And LeBron James and his son, more LeBron James. I mean, Bronny's just trying to, not both of them. LeBron James and his son took that opportunity away from that that player that could have possibly got drafted. But please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. Again, I don't hate Bronny James. If this was any player, I would have talked about it the same way. Bronny James, just put no name on him. Just show me a blank face and these numbers. This guy's not good at basketball. This guy doesn't deserve to be in the NBA. And I don't know why we keep trying to drag it out and turn this guy into an NBA player. But please like and subscribe. Comment what you think about Bronny James. Peace.